You clicked for 13 Special Forces Forbidden strikes that can drop anyone in seconds. Moves so dangerous they're banned in MMA. Because here's the reality. Most fights don't last minutes, they end in seconds. One mistake, one opening, and it's over. These strikes aren't built to score points or look flashy. They're designed to shut the body down instantly. I spent hours breaking down military combatives, declassified methods, and real-world encounters to find patterns most creators completely miss. This isn't theory, this is applied damage. But here's what almost nobody tells you. Strike number 4 isn't about power, it's about precision, and once you understand it, you'll start seeing every fight differently. So the real question is, if one move can end a fight instantly, why are you never taught it? Let's break it down. The Piterian crush is the ultimate anatomical off switch, targeting the weakest structural point of the human skull where 4 major bones meet at the temple. Unlike a standard jaw punch, this Tier 1 strike utilizes a heel of palm drive delivered with a high-velocity, vibrating twist upon impact. The objective isn't blunt force trauma, but a surgical disruption of the middle meningeal artery lying just beneath the bone. This specific vibration triggers an immediate intracranial reset, causing the brain's motor cortex to misfire and resulting in an instantaneous ragdoll collapse before the opponent even realizes they've been hit. The mental foramen shock is a high-precision neurological override that targets the 2 microscopic openings in the mandible where the mental nerve exits. Rather than a standard blunt force jaw strike, this technique utilizes a phoenix eye protruding knuckle, driven upward at a sharp 45-degree angle directly into the bone's nerve exit point. The strike acts as a high-voltage short circuit to the trigeminal nerve, sending an overwhelming electrical surge directly into the brainstem. This triggers an immediate systemic reboot, causing the opponent's legs to lose all muscle tone and buckle instantly, dropping them to the floor in a state of total motor failure. The hyoid bone snatch is a surgical structural sabotage move designed to trigger the body's most primitive survival panic. While most fighters focus on the carotid arteries to induce a slow blood choke, this strike targets the U-shaped hyoid bone, the only bone in the body not connected to another bone, located just above the Adam's apple. Using a C-grip, snatch and twist motion, the operator snaps this fragile structure, causing the soft tissues of the throat to collapse inward. The result is an immediate, agonizing blockage of the airway that induces a primal terror response, causing the opponent to drop all defenses and collapse while their brain goes into an emergency oxygen deprivation shutdown. The mastoid pivot is a devastating equilibrium override that targets the bony protrusion located directly behind the earlobe. In elite combatives, this is known as the internal compass reset. Rather than a traditional strike, the operator uses a reinforced thumb or knuckle to drive deep into the mastoid process toward the bridge of the nose. This sudden, focused pressure creates a violent disruption of the vestibular fluid in the inner ear. The result is instantaneous. The brain loses all sense of gravity and spatial orientation, causing the opponent to experience severe vertigo and collapse as their legs fail to find the floor, rendering them incapable of standing even if they remain conscious. The supraorbital notch grind is a high-level clinch technique that targets a tiny, sensitive indentation in the bone of the upper eye socket, right at the eyebrow ridge. By driving a reinforced thumb into this specific notch and applying a heavy downward grind, you activate the oculocardiac reflex. This biological hack sends an immediate, urgent signal to the cranial nerves to decelerate the heart rate drastically. The result is a sudden, massive drop in blood pressure that induces overwhelming nausea, cold sweats, and a blackout sensation, causing the attacker to lose all physical power and collapse as their cardiovascular system forcefully slows down. The brachial plexus tie-in is a power grid strike that targets the dense bundle of nerves located in the hollow just behind the collarbone, clavicle. In Tier 1 combatives, this is executed as a vertical spear hand plunge or a heavy thumb drive directed straight down into the cavity. This strike targets the primary main cable that supplies motor function and sensation to the entire arm and chest wall. A successful hit doesn't just cause pain, it unplugs the limb, causing immediate dead arm syndrome. The massive electrical shock to the central nervous system often causes a sympathetic vasovagal response, resulting in a sudden drop in heart rate and a total ragdoll collapse of the torso.
Sorry for voice, but it's important. Now listen. The axillary nerve spear targets the deep, unprotected center of the armpit, a high-value, soft tunnel that leads directly to the body's internal power lines. Unlike a rib strike, which hits bone. This technique uses a stiff-fingered spear or a sharp driving elbow to plunge directly into the axilla. This strike crushes the axillary nerve and the surrounding neurovascular bundle against the humerus. The sensation is an agonizing, high-voltage electrical shock that radiates through the chest and arm, triggering a vasovagal syncope, a biological emergency response where the body forces a feint to protect the nervous system from overwhelming sensory input, leading to an immediate fetal position collapse. The xiphoid process hammer targets the small, fragile cartilaginous extension at the very base of the sternum. In close quarters combat, this is executed with a downward hammer fist delivered with heavy mass. Because the xiphoid process is not fused to the ribs, a sharp impact can snap it or drive it deep into the liver and the diaphragm. This causes an immediate, involuntary spasm of the respiratory system. The opponent's diaphragm seizes, making it physically impossible for them to draw a breath. They are plunged into an oxygen debt crisis instantly, causing their body to fold forward and shut down as the brain prioritizes survival over combat. The floating rib hook is a specialized internal organ override that targets the 12th rib, the lowermost rib that is unattached to the breastbone. Unlike a standard body shot that hits the rib cage front on, this strike uses an upward hooking palm heel or a shovel hook to get under the bone and lift. This mechanical lever action drives the rib upward into the liver or spleen, triggering a massive autonomic nervous system failure. The pain is so sharp and deep that it causes an immediate, uncontrollable fetal position reflex, as the body literally shuts down all external motor functions to protect the internal organs from perceived catastrophic trauma. The floating rib hook is a specialized internal organ override that targets the 12th rib, the lowermost rib that is unattached to the breastbone. Unlike a standard body shot that hits the rib cage front on, this strike uses an upward hooking palm heel or a shovel hook to get under the bone and lift. This mechanical lever action drives the rib upward into the liver or spleen, triggering a massive autonomic nervous system failure. The pain is so sharp and deep that it causes an immediate, uncontrollable fetal position reflex, as the body literally shuts down all external motor functions to protect the internal organs from perceived catastrophic trauma. The inguinal fold stamp targets the high-traffic neurological gateway located in the deep crease where the torso meets the thigh. In elite combatives, this is known as the leg unplug because it bypasses muscle and targets the femoral nerve as it passes over the pelvic bone. By delivering a sharp downward knife-edge kick or a heavy heel stamp into this specific fold, you crush the nerve against the underlying bone structure. This sends an immediate motor failure signal to the brain, causing the leg to buckle instantly and making it physically impossible for the opponent to bear weight, effectively removing their kickstand and dropping them to the floor. The common perineal dead switch is a motor dysfunction strike that targets the superficial perineal nerve located on the outside of the leg, roughly 4 to 6 inches above the knee joint in Tier 1 scenarios. This is executed with a shin-to-nerve roundhouse or a heavy lateral stomp. This strike doesn't target the muscle. It aims to crush the nerve against the femur. The impact causes foot drop, a neurological state where the brain can no longer send signals to the foot to lift or stabilize. The result is a mechanical collapse. The opponent's leg simply stops functioning as a pillar, causing them to trip over their own unresponsive limb and hit the ground instantly. The tibial tuberosity spike is a mechanical sabotage strike that targets the bony protrusion just below the kneecap, where the patellar tendon attaches to the shin. In a high-stakes encounter, this is delivered as a downward oblique stomp or a lead leg spike kick. This strike doesn't just cause pain. It targets the mechanical anchor of the leg's extension system. A successful hit creates a sudden, violent tension that can unhook the tendon's leverage or cause the knee to hyperextend instantly. It is like cutting the brake lines on a vehicle. The opponent's leg loses the structural integrity required to stand, causing an immediate, forced collapse as their primary weight-bearing joint fails to lock. The occipital ridge chopping strike is the ultimate system shutdown move, targeting the medulla oblongata at the base of the skull where the spine meets the cranium. In elite Tier 1 scenarios, this is executed with a diagonal forearm chop or heavy hammer fist, delivered at the precise moment the opponent's head is tilted forward. This area houses the control centers for the heart and lungs. A sharp, focused impact here creates a massive short circuit in the central nervous system. The result is an immediate ragdoll collapse. The brain signal to the limbs is severed, causing the attacker to drop to the floor in a state of total, instantaneous unconsciousness.